Oh my God, todo lo malo echarlo para allá. Oh my God, dame salud y prosperidad. Que la mala lengua no tenga chance y que le
90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. Oh my God, brother. The Mets theme. It's not Meet the Mets, but it's. We'll take it for right now.
It's the theme of the 20s.
Yeah. Okay.
How weird does that sound, brother? Weird. It's
Yeah.
like it should be like the theme of the 90s or something.
Yes, it should.
It's like we're all getting old in a hurry.
Yes, we are. And
But the Mets are in the playoffs, so I don't care if I'm getting old.
well, I've never heard you say that before, but
And you never will again.
yeah, I know. But one thing, brother, that first of all, welcome to From the Press Box here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And we talk sports. I am Rob Leonard. Joining me, of course, is award-winning sports writer. And yes, my brother, Tim Leonard. Slightly late, but we're here, and that's what it's all about. And let's talk about the Mets because, brother, we saw one of the greatest games ever last Monday.
Hell of a game.
Last Monday.
I'll give the Mets that and the Brewers that, too.
Which gets the Mets into the playoffs. Then they lost game 2 of that doubleheader, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. And then the Mets beat up on the Brewers in some, really good game. And then game 1 against the Phillies, they really played well. They played well last night, or yesterday, I should say.
Not as well.
Not as well, but they lost 6-5.
No, 7-6.
7-6. I'm sorry.
But it was clutch, but the pitching left a little to be desired.
That's true, but at the same time,
Especially Edwin Diaz.
But it's against the Phillies. They're one of the top teams in the National League.
Very true.
So, you have a lot of things going on. One thing I like about what's happening with this Mets team, brother, they kind of reminded me of the 98 Yankees in the sense.
Whoa, that's lofty, brother.
I know, but
that is lofty.
But this is why.
Are you sure you want to go there?
Yes, because the 98 Yankees would come back.
They didn't lose.
They didn't.
The 98 Yankees were an extraordinary team.
But they also, if they were losing like the 7th inning, you said, well, the Yankees are going to come back. And I think, the Mets don't have the depth of that team or the drive of that team. But
the talent of that team. Let's face facts, brother.
Okay, but one thing
that team won 125 games.
The one thing the Mets have right now is they've been on a great run.
Absolutely.
And they've been playing, it's like the 7th inning. You're like, you know what? The Mets could come back. In the old days, it'd be like, oh, it's over. What am I doing?
There is clearly some I'll call it a wow factor, for lack of a better term, with this team right now. That and Met fans, let's face it, are some of the most pessimistic people alive.
Except for Jet fans.
But even Mets fans right now are taking the mindset of, all right, it's not over. We still got 6 outs left, or we still got 3 outs left, or whatever. But Met fans, for the first time in a really long time, are not losing hope and are not just saying, oh, well, this one's over. Screw it. Forget it. Because there have been so many late comebacks. And I don't even want to say it started with that Braves game, with the doubleheader, because the Mets seem destined to lose that game. And again, it's been a lot of really good starting pitching against them, but they keep getting to bullpens. And they're getting to good bullpens, because the Braves had a pretty good bullpen, and the Phillies have a very good bullpen.
Sure.
And the Mets are still scoring runs.
Yep.
It was against the Braves, they put up a 5 spot after Schwellenbach was outstanding against them for 7 innings. Yesterday, Wheeler was outstanding for 7 innings. The Mets got to the Phillies bullpen, and the Phillies have a very good bullpen. The Phillies over the last 3 years have gone from having a terrible bullpen to having one of the best bullpens in baseball. And the Mets got to them yesterday.
Yeah.
And Vientos hit that home run, his second home run of the game, ties the score at 6-6, and you say, here we go again. And I'm sure the Phillies were saying, what are we going to do to kill these guys?
I agree.
And then they got to Tyler McGill in the 9th, which was unfortunate, but they had gotten to Edwin Diaz before that. And you wonder, today the Mets have a day off. You wonder if Edwin Diaz maybe doesn't need that day off more than anybody, because he's pitched a lot recently.
Yes, he has.
And he didn't look so good yesterday. So that's that's what you're looking at with what's going on with the Mets right now. And you know, you like I said, you look at that first game with the Braves and the doubleheader, and that game for me was the key because you kind of knew whoever won the first game was maybe going to lay down for the second one. But all it takes is losing the first game, and then whoever the starting pitcher is in the second game has a great 7 innings, and it's like, we just cooked our season in one day. Yeah. So you can't take that chance. That's why that first game was so important. The Mets wanted to be the team that said, all right, you know what, second game, hey, everybody's Lindor, sit down. Alonso, sit down. Everybody, just take a seat. We're going to play all the guys on the bench, and it doesn't matter if we even score. And we're not pitching Severino because we want to save him for the opener for the next round, and we're just going to do a bullpen game, and none of this matters because we're in. That's what you wanted. You wanted that security, and then first game against the Braves, and the same thing happened. Late innings, rally. Here we go. It was another 5 runs. I mean, the Mets are putting up crazy numbers in the 8th and 9th innings. And it's been that way for pretty much a week. So I don't even want to say it was necessarily a shocker that Vientos hit the home run yesterday and makes it 6-6 because it's like, all right, well, this is what the Mets are doing now.
Exactly, and it's not, it's nice to see. Tim,
it's exciting. It's been exciting baseball. It's been riveting stuff. It's been you got to stay there for all 27 outs.
Well, the one thing, brother, about a week and a half ago, if you would have said Yankees-Mets World Series, you might not have thought about it. Now I do.
It certainly is possible.
You know?
I'm not going to sit here and say that there's no way it can't happen. I mean, do I think the Mets can get out of the National League and be the team? Yeah, because they've played that well. As poorly as they played in the first couple of months of the season, they've been one of the best teams in baseball for probably the last 3 or so months.
Yep. So
you can't discount them, and you can't negate everything that they've done in the regular season just because the playoffs. So you can't just say, oh, it's a new season and none of that matters. Because, no, it does matter. Momentum is a real thing. You might not be able to measure it, but momentum is a very real thing. And especially when a team gets a belief that we can do this. And I'm not even talking about late inning comebacks and whatnot. I'm just talking about winning games. And when you figure out the formula and you get it, and it took the Mets a long time to do that. Yeah, and a lot of people, I think probably most Met fans didn't think it was going to happen, but here we are.
Yeah.
And do I think the Mets are any worse than any of the 4 National League teams left? No, I don't.
No, I don't either. And the Braves game was just such a great comeback, but beating up on the Phillies and the Brewers, was great too. So,
the Brewers, I'll just say it, and then we can move on. But the Brewers game, Pete Alonso hitting a 3-run, and I'm going to take credit for this, brother, because I posted on Facebook. I was in a little bit of a chat, and I said I think it was around the 5th inning. I posted. I said, when is Pete Alonso going to hit a home run? Because he'd been really bad for the last week or so, or more than that, actually probably a couple of weeks. And
he hit a home run against the Braves. Yeah.
All I'm saying is it had been a while since Pete Alonso hit a big home run. Okay. And I said, when is Pete Alonso going to hit a home run? And 2 of my Met fan friends, and one of them being Bob Tuck, both basically said the same thing. And it was next year when he's with another team. Because they were fed up with Pete.
Hey,
and 3 innings later, Pete Alonso's going over the fence, and in what could have been his last at bat as a Met.
Yep.
And he said, you know what? I want another series.
He wasn't ready to leave.
I'm going yard.
He wasn't ready to leave yet, and that's something you want right now from Pete Alonso. You want that attitude that I'm not leaving the Mets yet, and if I do, I want to leave on great hits and great home runs, and you want that, and right now, if he wants to stay with the team, he's going to have to, show up in the playoffs.
Well, he made his case for staying with that one swing.
Oh God, yeah,
for sure. That was easily the biggest home run of his career, and literally one of the biggest home runs in Met history.
It was one of them. It was I forgot who did it. I want to say it wasn't Joel Sherman, but someone in the Post listed like all the great home runs, and that was one of them. Let's talk about the Yankees, brother. They're also in the playoffs. They're playing the Royals
How come nobody's mentioning the 80s, brother? I don't get. I haven't seen. I'm dying to look. I'm looking for stories. I'm like, why is nobody like? Maybe I missed the Joel Sherman story because this is right in his wheelhouse. And I'm sure probably Clappish, who's now writing for the Newark Star Ledger, he's made his entire career off of Strawberry and Gooden, so he probably wrote some. But maybe I missed it. But this series is screaming for 1970s and 1980s, and George Brett and Hal McRae and Willie Wilson
is Freddie Patek still around?
No, Freddie Patek wasn't on those teams.
Yes, he was. He was.
He was a little before that.
No, he was on that team.
But that's a storyline that should be getting pursued here. And instead, all I'm hearing about is, the Royals, like they're just any other team. And, Bobby Witt Jr. and Salvador Perez and I don't know, a bunch of other guys who I probably don't really know a whole lot about.
Freddie Patek was on the Royals from 71 to the end of 79.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like the Yankees,
the Yankees was 78, 79.
To 81 too. 81 was the year that the Yankees won. The Royals won in 80, I think it was.
Right, and
so that was the end of Patek's.
Right, but the Yankees didn't play in 81 in the playoffs.
They did.
No, they didn't.
They went to the World Series in 81.
81, not 80.
Yeah, 80. The Royals went to the World Series because they finally beat the Yankees.
So Patek was on the 77 and 78 teams
that lost.
Yeah, that lost in 76.
All right.
So
there you go. He was still short.
Yeah, that hasn't changed. So anyway, the Yankees are. It's actually, they're not the story right now. Usually,
they're not. They absolutely are not. I can agree with that 100%. Much as it kills me to say that, the Yankees are not. The Mets right now are the story, because and part of it is the schedule, because the Mets. I mean, first of all, MLB screwed up and wouldn't force the Braves to figure out how to play those games with Hurricane Helene coming, and they just we'll play them whenever we feel like it. It's moronic. So the Mets wound up needing to go to Atlanta to play those games, and then immediately turn around and go to Milwaukee. And meanwhile, the Yankees were like, all right, we clinched the best record in the league, and we're going to be off for 5 days. And then they finally play on Saturday, and then MLB, in its infinite stupidity, you thought I was going to say wisdom, didn't you? But no. Stupidity, says, we'll give them 5 days off, then we'll have them play a game, and then we're going to give them another off day. Well, who the hell needs another off day?
I agree.
Stupid.
But, what can you do, man?
So now we got game 2 tonight. After game 1 on Saturday, there's the Saturday off Monday schedule, which doesn't exist anywhere. But I tell you what, it was an underrated, really good game, because you talk about those Met games and the late comebacks. That Yankee game, first of all, the Yankees won, for anybody who's in a cave. The Yankees won on Saturday 6-5 in the opening game of that series, and there were, I think, 4 lead changes in that game. They just kept going back and forth. Here, the Yankees take the lead. The Royals the Royals took the first lead. Royals had leads of 1-0, 3-2, and 5-4. And the Yankees had leads of 2-1 and 4-3. So 5 lead changes. First postseason game with 5 lead changes, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. And if they say it, it's true. So, that's the way that game went. It kept going back and forth, back and forth. And of course, there was whining from the Kansas City fans and most of the other fans in baseball, because so many people hate the Yankees, brother.
No, who hates the Yankees, brother?
My man Clyde, for example. But Jazz Chisholm, on a hit and run, Volpe strikes out. Jazz Chisholm goes to steal second, and is called safe by the umpire. Now they do the, for lack of a better term, a VAR review. That's what they call it in soccer. Right. They do a little replay thing, and we see that Jazz Chisholm's slide was abominable, just horrible. A little leaguer could have slid better than he did, and he may have been out because it looked like it was possible that his foot came up a little bit short of the bag, and the tag might have been on him. But the thing is, with these replays, it requires conclusive evidence, and it wasn't conclusive. Because there was a scenario there where you could say, maybe his side of his foot was on the bag. It wasn't, like, definite.
Right.
And Ron Darling was, he looked like he's out. Ron Darling's a Yale man. I trust him. He's a smart guy. But they're looking at it in the New York office and they're checking it out, and the umpire comes back and says, ruling on the field stands.
Right.
So here comes Alex Verdugo, who has been garbage for pretty much the entire second half and was starting only because of his defense, and he actually made a really an acrobatic, I don't want to say a really good catch, it was an acrobatic catch because he actually kind of whiffed on the catch, but the ball hit him in the chest and then hit his hand, and he caught it barehanded. And the umpire at first called it safe, and Verdugo showed him, hey, dude, I caught the ball. It didn't hit the ground. And the umpire changed it, and he called him out. But here comes Verdugo with a single in that seventh inning to bring in Jazz Chisholm flying around third base. And he scores the run, and that gave the Yankees the lead. And then, miracle of miracles, the Yankees bullpen had no incidents, which is a rarity this season. Because we've been talking about this, Brennan. I've been talking about this since March, how the Yankees bullpen is going to cost them in the postseason. And for one game, it didn't. So I was very happy
so
about
far, it's worked.
Because they changed everything. Clay Holmes went an inning and 2/3 in that game.
That's great.
And didn't allow a run. It was unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
That's good.
So now tonight, we got Carlos Rodon pitching for the Yankees, and he is the guy who has 16 wins this season, which was most on the Yankees. He's pitching for the good guys in pinstripes, going against somebody named Cole Reagans for the Kansas City Royals. They don't have Paul Splittorff and Mark Gubazar and those guys anymore.
No.
I don't even.
But I'm surprised. You're right. I'm surprised that there hasn't been stories about, where's George Brett to give a story?
Brett, yeah.
Where's Splittorff? Where's a bunch of these guys? I don't know who's live and
Have
who's
George
not.
Brett tell a hemorrhoid story or something.
Yeah, why not? Or how he attacked the umpire.
He should have been. I will always maintain, brother, and nobody has ever asked the question. I will always maintain that not only should George Brett have been suspended for the pine tar incident, he should have been arrested.
Well,
he assaulted 2 umpires.
Yeah,
there was physical assault there.
They're not going to do anything like that. But I understand where you're coming.
Arrested,
but they didn't, and that's all that matters. So, but anyway, so the Yankees, aren't the story right now, which actually could help them. Actually, take some of the pressure off them. The Mets are the story.
It's playoff baseball, brother. There's pressure. There's going to be pressure. Just because there's not as much, like they're not on the back page because the Mets are on the back page. That doesn't mean anything for the players. There's still all the media around. You're still out of your comfort level because of how things are structured. There's still like the big media conferences before and after games. So it's all different. It's just where it's being played on the 6 o'clock news, and where it's being played on the back pages. But the players don't get any of that.
Right.
They just see, all right, there's more media here, and we're on whatever network that we're on that isn't the Yes Network.
And that's one of the problems, man. It's trying to figure out where they're playing. FS1 had a bunch of games yesterday.
Yeah.
TBS had some games. Regular Fox had games. ESPN, I think it's just
you got to do your research.
You need a scorecard just to follow where the games are. It's really sad.
It's not sad, but it's a little frustrating, a little aggravating because you have to wind up going to channels that you don't check during the regular season, and it's like I'll check 2 or 3 different channels. It's like, all right, where's the freaking Yankee game? And it's like you said, it's on TBS or it's on FS1, and I'm like, I don't watch these games during the season. These are not baseball channels.
Yeah, TBS especially, though they have a great high-paying contract, though they don't show a lot of games considering like ESPN or even Fox Sports 1. They show a lot of games. Any of them, it's again frustrating for me because I'm flipping the channels all over the place, and then I wind up having to go to a website and say like, what freaking channel is this game on? No, I agree. Anyway, we need television that you just I don't know, and maybe they've invented it and I just don't have it yet. I want television that says when I can say out loud, turn on the Yankee game. They do have it. That's what I need. I need to get a new television then. You probably do, but at the same time, it's different. I guess is the best way to describe it. So anyway, you're listening to 90.3 WHPC from the Press Box. I'm Rob Leonard. He's Tim Leonard. We're going to take a break right now. We're going to come back and talk about the Giants and the Jets right after. And the Liberty.
This show on 90.3 WHPC is brought to you by
New York Fries.
New York Fries, located at Roosevelt Field Mall in Garden City and now at Smith Haven Mall in Lake Grove. You know New York Fries menu features fresh cut french fries, but have you tried their all-beef hot dogs, plain or loaded? New York Fries offers more than the traditional chili cheese dog, like a nacho dog with salsa and queso, a bacon double cheese dog with bacon crumble, cheese sauce, and queso, or for those seeking spice, a flaming bacon dog with chipotle mayo, hot sauce, bacon, and jalapenos. More information about New York Fries can be found at newyorkfries.com or on Instagram at New York Fries USA.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife.
90.3 WHPC, the voice of Nassau Community College. This is From the Press Box, here every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We are part of the WHPC Sports Talk family. Sports Talk every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., and also every Tuesday at 11 p.m. And, of course, we're every Monday. This show becomes a podcast later on if you want to hear it again, or if you missed it, maybe you're tuning in right now, whatever. Anyway, your WHPC weather forecast powered by Pantano's Gourmet with locations in Hewlett and Uniondale. This afternoon, it's going to actually get sunny. It's a little bit raining as we speak outside. But it's going to be mostly sunny, get better. It's going to get clear tonight. High today, about 74. Tonight, it's going to be clear all night, low 55. And tomorrow, get this, it's going to be sunny all day, high about 67. Currently outside the studios here at Nassau Community College, it is 68 degrees. Anyway, brother, let's talk about let's first talk about the Liberty, the New York Liberty and the WNBA. They have
back to the finals, baby.
They're back in the finals. They beat up on the Las Vegas Aces,
two-time reigning champion Las Vegas Aces.
So no three-peat there, even though it's a trademark of Pat Riley. But it's good for the Liberty because I think them winning a championship this year will help the league also, as much as Caitlin Clark has helped the league, because this is a New York-based team, and you need a New York-based team to be successful for your league to be successful.
Well, this brother is the sixth time the Liberty have advanced to the WNBA Finals. They have 0 championships.
Yeah.
So I would like to say that, yes, this will be the year, but they're going to be playing either the Connecticut Sun or the Minnesota Lynx. And we've discussed this before. The Minnesota Lynx won the Commissioner's Cup during the season. They beat the Liberty to win that Commissioner's Cup in Barclays Center. So it's not a foregone conclusion that the Liberty are going to win this thing. You still need some help, and you still need to figure out what or how to win. But Becky Hammon, former Liberty guard Becky Hammon, who is now the coach of the Aces, paid a very high tribute to the Liberty after Game 4, after her team was eliminated, and talked about how teams need to kind of figure out how to win. And it's not necessarily about just having talent, because Liberty had basically the same team as last year.
Right.
But they're using players in different ways, and they're more comfortable playing together, because the WNBA season is so short that it's like whatever, 40 games or 38 games or whatever it is, but that's not that much time to figure out a new system, a new coach. Last year, Breanna Stewart was here for the first year. And they have gotten used to how everybody plays and how they want to play and how they want to attack opponents. And it takes having that level of comfort with your teammates before you can figure out how to win.
Right.
So right now, what we and the other part of that was after the Aces won the 2 titles in a row, we talked about this in the preseason. there was a casino that basically gave every player a contract for $100,000 just for basically for being a celebrity. They gave the players money, and the league was not happy about it.
Is that the Connecticut Sun?
No, this is the Las Vegas Aces.
Oh, okay.
They basically they basically signed all of the players to. You remember that the contract that Mickey Mantle signed with Harrah's Casino?
Yeah, and Willie Mays.
It was kind of something like that because it gets around the salary cap, and it basically more than doubled just about every player's salary.
Sure.
So when you're getting that significant amount of money from an outside entity, it doesn't go against the salary cap because obviously it's not a team-related thing, but the Las Vegas community said, all right, we want to honor these players because they just won us a title. And look at how this is a legendary team in WNBA. So, but Becky Hammond's contention was that the players got a little, fat and happy, as the saying goes. And the motivation wasn't quite as what it was for the last couple of years. Not that they get any huge bonuses for winning a title, but they all of a sudden now players had money.
That makes sense, brother.
Players had they're still not rolling in cash,
of course.
But when your salary is like $60,000 or $70,000 or whatever, and all of a sudden you just have a casino say, all right, here's an extra $100,000.
Right.
Thank you very much.
And also, it's the first time Las Vegas has had a championship team.
No,
I'm sorry, the
Golden
Vegas Knights. The
yeah.
Golden Knights, that's right.
But, it's all a
But
new
at the same
thing
time,
for Vegas.
it is something that promotes Las Vegas. So, and that's what they like to do in Vegas.
Yeah, and it's something that they have used in advertising, and hey, home of the champion Las Vegas Aces and Asia Wilson and Kelsey Plum and whatever. But so when the Aces won Game 3, and they really kind of humiliated the Liberty in that game because the third quarter was a joke. It was the Aces outscored the Liberty 21-6. The game was close at halftime, and then the Liberty couldn't make a shot. They went something like 0 for 12 or something during the third quarter, and it was something like a 16-0 run or what. It was ridiculous. They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, as the saying goes. But after that game, I was talking to Brian Heyman, first of all, who covers Liberty for Newsday, and I'm hoping that we can get him on next week. But I also talked to my friend Soph on Twitter, a very big women's sports person, and I said that's it. I said the Aces just won their last game.
Right.
I said there's no way we're going to Game 5. I can't see it. And the Liberty came out, and Sabrina Ionescu, who really did not have a good game in Game 3, she was like 1 for 7 from the field, scored 4 points, came out yesterday, and game high 22 points. Stewie had 19 points and 14 rebounds, and they did what they had to do. Jonquel Jones, who you expect to be under the basket and making shots and doing more of the physical work, she started hitting threes. So everything that Liberty needed to do, and Liberty wound up being a team. They pulled away in the fourth quarter. They wound up getting a 12-0 run in the fourth quarter, and they outscored the Aces 23-7. So they won this game going away.
We have brother Hank on the phone with us. We haven't talked to him in a couple of weeks. Hank, welcome back to
What's
From
up,
the Press
Hank?
Box. Hank from Seaford.
I've been listening to you guys, the last couple of weeks, and I want to thank Tim for mentioning the Buffalo Bills. And since he's been mentioning them, they've lost 2 weeks in a row.
I was going to say, Hank, I wasn't going to mention him this week because I was going to try and give him a break, especially after Josh Allen really seemed like he got bashed yesterday. But
yeah,
not a good day for Josh Allen yesterday.
Not that I mind.
No, I don't really care about the Buffalo Bills, but I got excited when they won the first 3 weeks. But anyway, going back to the Mets, I got a comment, and I'll throw the question out to you guys. I mean, in Game 1, Wheeler had a one-hitter going into the 7th inning, and
yes, he did.
And begs the question is like, are managers or GMs ever going to allow a pitcher, with that type of stats going into the 7th or 8th inning, ever complete a game anymore?
No.
Because,
Hank, you and my brother should go out for a beer and have a conversation about this.
Hank, this is what's happening. Somewhere along the line, 100 pitches became the thing. There was no test on it. There was no analysis of it. They just said 100.
Yeah.
And you're right. I would have left Zach Wheeler in. If he had a one-hitter, I would have left him in. But that's what they do, and then they bring in 5 pitchers after that, and it's horrible. Let the starting pitcher pitch. That's why he's there.
Yeah, didn't this happen? I think at least once or twice this season, where a guy was throwing a no-hitter, and then the manager pulled them, or they also combined a no-hitter. Like the relief staff and the starting pitcher.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
There are 2 schools of thought on this, Hank, and I'm going to give you both of them.
Yeah.
First of all, you have the people who it's not even necessarily a number of pitches. And I know my brother is a big proponent about making sure a pitcher gets 140, 150 pitches and destroys his elbow and shoulder. But the number of pitches isn't what the manager is thinking of as much as how many times through the lineup. Because the stats will show you that the majority of pitchers, the third time, or starting pitchers I should say, the third time they go through the lineup, the numbers jump. And the hitters, because nowadays you have so many relief pitchers that the hitters are at such a disadvantage because they're seeing a different pitcher in 3 of their 4 at-bats. Because they'll face the starter twice if he's pitching fairly well, and then it's relief pitcher in the 7th and relief pitcher in the 9th. And so you're seeing 3 different pitchers in a game. And they like that because when a hitter is seeing a different pitcher, he can't lock in. He can't say, all right, well, this guy did this to me the last time I was up, so now I'm going to look for this. With a starter, they can get away with it because typically they'll have better stuff, they'll have better secondary pitches, and you can figure out. By the time you get to that third at bat, though, the hitter has pretty much seen what a starter has. So unless the starter is elite, he's going to have a better sense of what he needs to do to attack the pitcher. And the pitcher will be more tired and more prone to make a mistake. Now, the other school of thought with that, and I will give credit to Phil Mushnick because he's the guy who really espouses this the most, is that managers, for some reason, have almost a death wish where they'll take a pitcher out of a game prematurely because of that pitch count and because artificial reasons, instead of using their eyes and saying, "Well, he's dominating. I'm going to leave him in until he stops dominating." But no, he's got 90 pitches or 95 pitches, and let me get him out before any problems happen. And then he spends the last 2 or 3 innings trying to find that guy who is going to make the game explode and lose the game. Because if you're gonna run 3 or 4 relief pitchers out there, chances are one of them is going to screw up. So unless you have a cushion, a big enough cushion where a guy can come in and give up a single and a home run, and all of a sudden it's either a close game or in Pete Alonso's case you turn a 2-0 lead or 2-0 lead into a 3-2 deficit, that becomes the way that managers wind up losing a game as opposed to winning a game. Because no bullpen is perfect. Well, except for the 98 Yankees who had Mike Stanton and Jeff Nelson and Mariano Rivera. That was pretty close to perfect bullpen. But that's what you're looking at. And I agree with what you're saying because, I mean, you look at that first Braves game. Schwellenbach was outstanding. The other day, Zach Wheeler was outstanding. And the Mets have been getting to bullpens that they really shouldn't be getting to because like I said before, the Braves have a very good bullpen. The Phillies have, as far as I'm concerned, is an elite bullpen. They got a ton of guys out there that have had very good seasons, and they have at least 4 of them. And they acquired a closer at the trading deadline because they didn't really have a specific closer.
So you agree with me then, brother, that a player pitcher should stay in there a little longer?
I think there's an eye test involved, but I understand why the managers are taking those guys out. And you see, you hear pitch counts, but it's more about the third time through the lineup and how much, like a pitcher can get, the first time through the lineup, the pitcher can have like a 220 batting average against, and maybe the second time through it's like 240 or 250. Well, you get to the third time through, and now it's all of a sudden it's 310, 320. And that's where your damage is going to happen.
Yeah, but Wheeler had a one-hitter.
I understand that, brother. And Wheeler is an elite pitcher.
Wheeler had the momentum. I mean, he wasn't throwing bad pitches. I guess if I'm old school, I would have kept them in, and I would have been like, maybe the manager, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to make a plate appearance. Be like, you give up a hit, I'm taking you out.
Yes,
you know?
I mean, definitely at that point, he should have a short leash. And Hank, I agree with what you're saying to a certain extent that you got to use your eye. It's got to be an eye test there. And I gotta look at how my pitcher not only where he is in the lineup and how many times he's faced each batter, but I got to see how he's throwing and is he laboring. And the other issue with especially now this time of year, the number of pitches is one thing, but in the playoffs, so many pitches are high leverage pitches, and it does make a difference. It's not just 90 pitches in the regular season is not 90 pitches in the playoffs. The intensity factor and the focus, and that's what will tire out a pitcher as much as him pumping 98 and throwing with everything he's got. It's the mental focus, and all it takes is one bad pitch.
Yeah.
And you saw it with Severino. Severino the other day said, I only threw 2 bad pitches. Well, both of those pitches went out of the park. So that's what you're dealing with at playoff time is that mental factor as well. It's not only physical, and that's what pitchers will talk about. You listen to David Cohn every once in a while, just talk about pitching, and I'm sure with the playoffs now, he'll start talking about how much pitching in the postseason, how much it's different, and how much more it takes out of a pitcher. That's why I wasn't, as a Yankee fan, I wasn't upset when Boone took Garrett Cole out, in the 6th inning the other day. Because for me, that just means that Garrett Cole is going to be a little bit stronger in his next start. And the Yankees wound up winning the game. So as far as I'm concerned, that's a great result. Because now you're going to have, and even though, Garrett Cole, let's face it, he wasn't lacking for rest after the Yankees just had 5 days off. But now he's back on a normal routine. And for me, I think his next start, he'll probably go 7 or 8. And I think we're looking at a very good start for Garrett Cole his next time out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another comment, going back to what you said before about trying to figure out what channel the games are on. I think that game, the Wheeler game, I think that was on Amazon Prime. I watched it.
No, they haven't had any. They don't have any playoff games for Amazon Prime or
ESPN. I forgot. It was.
I'm pretty sure it was on ESPN. It was either
that
or.
I think so. And I didn't really like the announcers, and then the one guy was saying, "Oh yeah, Wheeler's throwing a good game, and the Phillies have a history letting their pitchers pitch long, and 7th inning he got yanked," and I'm like, "Oh boy." I don't know.
But the Phillies, like I said, the Phillies have a very good bullpen, and I will advocate for Rob Thompson any and all times because I covered him back in the Double-A days when he was the Albany Colony Yankees third base coach, and I got to know him. And this guy, he's a baseball guy. I got all the respect in the world for Rob Thompson because he did it the hard way. He came up in the Yankee system. He certainly paid his dues, and I to be honest, I thought the Yankees kind of screwed him over a little bit when they didn't give him a promotion, and he wound up getting scapegoated a little bit, and then he left the organization. He went to Philly, and things broke right for him in Philly, and he wound up getting a manager's job there. But this is a guy who I got all the respect in the world for him, and he's also a really decent guy. So. As much as I'd like to see the Mets win, I'm also rooting for Rob Thompson because just because of the personal connection I have with him.
Yeah.
Anything else there, Hank?
Maybe one more question. What do you think about the extended break the Yankees got? You think it's going to help or hurt?
Based on last year, we talked about this last week. Based on last year and recent history, it hurts. But I was very glad that they won the first game because I thought they were going to lose. Going in, I kind of figured, all right, they're going to lose game 1 because the Royals have momentum. They just beat the Orioles. They gave up 1 run in 2 games to the Orioles, and the Orioles, that's a pretty potent lineup. I mean, you win 2-1 and 1-0, and that's great for the Royals, but they got to play and they got those couple of games, and meanwhile the Yankees are just working out, and you can't replicate intensity, and that to me is the big drawback with the playoff system that MLB has set up is that. Yes, you're quote unquote rewarding teams for having the best record, but now you're taking them out of their routine. I mean, this is the longest break of the season. It's longer than the All-Star break, and you're going from having workouts and just kind of hanging out, and there's no intensity to these workouts, and then you jump into game one against a team that just came out of a big series and had pressure-packed games and played 18 innings of intense baseball. I don't know how. I mean, I don't know. There's got to be a way to fix it, but MLB wants that extra wild card round. So
yeah, that's what it's about. It's about the money from the money. TV. So
yeah, what do you guys think about Pete Rose? What's going to happen?
Rest in peace. He's not going into the Hall of Fame. They're not going to change that.
They could.
He's into People's Hall of Fame. I don't think anything is going to change that, and I don't know what purpose it would serve to put him in now.
I think
now
should.
that he's passed away.
I think you should. What do you think?
He's into People's Hall of Fame.
Well, I've just been reading online and stuff that not the current commissioner, but maybe the next commissioner may reverse it or something. I don't know. Listen. If you base it on his attitude, and his personal character, he was kind of a jerk in a lot of ways, and he did bad things. But if you look at it his stats, I mean, he's the hit king.
Yeah, his problem was that he admitted to it right away and accepted what they gave him. So maybe he thought he wasn't going to get in trouble because of that, but his main problem was that he admitted. Now the other side of the coin now is that during baseball games they say, hey, bet on this, bet on that.
Yeah, but the problem with that, and people bring up that argument, and it kind of irks me.
Well, it doesn't irk me.
Because Pete Rose bet on his own team.
I know.
And there were times where he bet on his own team to lose.
Well,
and he was in charge of that team.
Right.
So he could dictate if they lose.
But he should go in as
he could leave his starter in for a third time around the lineup.
I think he goes in as a player. And at the bottom of his plaque, it says, Pete Rose was kicked out of baseball for gambling.
Banned for life.
Banned for life. And put the plaque up, but have that at the bottom. And I think it would be good. And don't allow the family to give a speech. Just put it in there,
Yeah. Well, they do have some of his memorabilia in Cooperstown.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of funny.
And Pete was up there signing stuff. He was up there signing stuff every year. And he always had the longest line.
Yeah. So, anyway, thanks for calling in, Hank. We appreciate it, man.
All right. Great
Talk to you next week.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Hank.
Bye. Anyway, Pete Rose is a good question, brother. I think it wouldn't be a bad thing to put him in at this point, but like I said, at the bottom of the plaque, he bet on baseball and agreed to be kicked out, basically.
Yeah, I mean it would all have to be represented. Pete Rose would have one of the longest Hall of Fame plaques in history, I think,
sure.
if they did that, because there would be so much to explain. But yeah, I mean, Pete Rose's problem. I mean, there's no doubt as a player and as a baseball player, he belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Sure,
there's no doubt about that.
And they never said that he bet when he was a player. Now we don't know if he did.
We don't know if he did or not.
But they don't have any proof either way. We know he bet as a manager. There was a great clip that he was on for a while. He was an analysis on Fox Sports.
Yes, and
there was this great clip with him, Frank Thomas, and A-Rod. And he was talking about how to get out of if you're in a slump. And he wasn't saying to change your swing. He was saying change where you stand in the box. And it's a 6-minute clip, and it's really brilliant.
Pete Rose knows everything about hitting.
Yep, and
the guy was a baseball
two guys
junkie.
like Frank Thomas and A-Rod who.
More A-Rod. A-Rod and Pete Rose could have had conversations that went on for hours.
You could see they were really intensely listening to him, and it was a good point. Anyway, we're running out of time, brother. Let's quickly talk about the Giants. Somehow they beat up on the Seahawks.
It's amazing.
29-20. I don't know how you screw up. It should have been 23-23, and then figure it out from there, and then. That didn't happen.
That play, brother, it was remarkable because when it first happened, I thought it was illegal.
Yeah, I know you said that.
And because just for anybody who may not have seen it, Isaiah Simmons for the Giants jumped through a gap in the offensive line on a field goal attempt and wound up blocking the kick. Bryce Ford Wheaton grabbed the bouncing ball and races 60 yards, takes it for a touchdown. And the announcers were saying, "Oh well, he should have gone down at the 1." He was a defensive player. Come on.
I hate that.
He's on punt returns.
First of all, I hate that idea.
No, because then you control the clock, you take
Yeah,
a knee and whatever.
but
let the dude score a touchdown.
Let him score. Let him score.
A touchdown. And it's 9 points. And the Giants actually wound up taking a knee on the extra point because they had a 9-point lead.
Right.
So it didn't matter. So they didn't want to make any possible screw-up that happened that could have resulted in the Seahawks going the other way for a touchdown. But fine. But so Simmons, like I said, he lined up to the left of the long snapper. And I should have got Mitch Suplee on here to talk about long snapping. He's a legend at it. But he jumps over the guard and blocks the kick. Now, the reason it wasn't illegal is because Simmons was lined up on the line of scrimmage. So you're not allowed to use offensive linemen or anybody really as leverage.
You can't use them to jump over.
He didn't use leverage.
Right.
The Giants defensive line knocked the Seahawks players down. So it made it easier for Simmons to jump over them. But he did not like lift himself or vault himself over. Everything that he did was his own natural freakish athletic ability. And when I talk about athletic freaks and people say, "Oh, well, I could do that." No, you can't do that.
No.
There's only a few people on the planet that can do what Isaiah Simmons did yesterday.
Yeah,
and the reason he could do it is because he's a freakish athlete.
And let's be honest, the Giants didn't really look good yesterday. You know, they
look pretty good. I mean, for what we've been expecting the Giants to be this season, they've now won 2 of their last 3 games.
Well, that's different. You know?
So, from that standpoint, I'm pretty impressed with them actually. Daniel Jones played pretty well yesterday. No Malik Neighbors, no Devin Singletary.
Right.
But the Giants' offense. They controlled. This was an old Parcells style game. Control the clock. 37 minutes of possession for the Giants. Somewhere, Coach Parcells was laughing and smiling and nodding his head and saying, "That's the way to do it, boys."
Yeah.
Daniel Jones, 23 for 34 and 2 touchdowns. Nothing wrong with that. I'll take that from him every day.
Not at all. And it was a game that shouldn't have been the way it was. But if you're a Giants fan, you'll take it because
you'll love that. You go to Seattle and you win in Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, that game when the schedule came out, that game had a big green L next to it. I'll tell you that.
We should say the Islanders season starts this week. Thursday home game against the Utah Hockey Club. They don't have a name yet?
Utah Hockey Club, brother. I knew you were going to love the Utah Hockey Club.
No name yet?
No name.
Oh, wow.
They're going to go through a contest, and they're going to settle into Utah, and they're going to say, all right, let's figure out what we want to name this club.
And we should say the Arizona Coyotes are finally out of Arizona.
Well, they're the Utah Hockey Club.
Right, yeah. Why don't they just call themselves the Utah Coyotes?
I don't know that there are any Coyotes in Utah. I don't know.
I'm sure there is.
I'm not privy to these conversations.
And then, of course, after the home opener for the Islanders, they go on a road trip, Dallas, Colorado, St. Louis.
Yeah, thanks a lot, NHL.
And we should say that Jalen Brunson has been named captain of the Knicks.
And the Karl Anthony Towns trade finally was finalized.
Don't forget about Jewish Talk, brother, every Sunday at 8 a.m. Rabbi Pearl thinks in Jewish but speaks in English, featuring talk about issues affecting the Jewish community. That's Jewish Talk every Sunday at 8 a.m., I should say, right here on 90.3 WHPC. Brother, coming up next is Big Ed Newlands. And a great show today. Stay tuned to Good Gold. My name is Rob Leonard. He is Tim Leonard. Thank you. Take care, and bye-bye.